Alright, it's another week for new releases. We're at John's Comics again, so what we got this week?
We got the beginning of the heroic age. Yeah!
Yeah.
Well, for all you guys that like comics dark in the Marvel Universe, things are changing. So Siege was a great ending to the
7-year arc that it took to build up to it.
Yeah, Dark Reign was fun, but I think a lot of you guys were sick and tired of Norman Osborn running the show.
I like a psychopath in charge. That's why we had Bush for 6 years. 8 years.
12.
Whatever. Yeah, I don't care.
Leading the pack, we have the Avengers #1. Captain America Steve Rogers is now top cop in America. He's forming different Avengers teams. This is the first one. He's setting up the roster for the main Avengers.
Yeah.
And there's even a tie-in to the Young Avengers movie.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen that, it's alright.
Yeah, it's really much more for kids, but you get a feeling of who they are. And they're a bit tougher in this incarnation.
Makes them pretty badass.
Kind of a Back to the Future story where the kids grow up to be a-holes. That's cool. And also in the heroic age, Deadpool, Age of Heroes, the Enter the Heroic Age, and we got Atlas. We also have Invincible Iron Man 26.
Story's going really good right now. It's in the second arc. Right now, he's getting back his suits from Captain America. Still at odds with Captain America, though, so we'll see how that plays out.
And along with the Iron Man 26, we got the one-shot of Rescue. For those of you that aren't familiar with Rescue, in the early beginning of Matt Fraction's run on Iron Man, it was a terrorist bombing that injured Pepper Potts, who, if you've seen the movie, you're familiar with, his secretary. Similar thing to her, her heart was affected, so she actually has a repulsor battery in her chest, and this is a one-shot issue on her, and she's got a special suit of armor that Tony Stark made for her, and I recommend picking it up. I'm not going to go into detail. Give it a shot.
It's a nice departure, but it works.
And, of course, one of our personal favorites,
Avengers 2.
Mark Miller is a store favorite.
I've got a lot of his.
But he's got a Black Ops team on Ultimates 2, and some of the Loser Defender heroes we saw are powered up. It continues with their Brightest Day.
Brightest Day is amazing. It started really back with the Sinestro Corp. That's what got me into Green Lantern, because before that, wasn't really that interested. Now, all the way to Brightest Day, still following the superheroes and what's been happening to them since they got resurrected. Really good read all the way through, and every single issue, I want the next one.
Definitely been a good series. We've been spoiled with Jeff Johns and a lot of the stuff he's been bringing out. This is not disappointing at all.
Makes Aquaman cool, which is really hard to do.
Continuing Brightest Day, we got the Justice League Brightest Day issue.
Power Girl's in it. She goes crazy again. Supergirl has to take her out, and then Jade's back on Earth, and it goes from there.
Oh, yeah. And continuing, since that features the Golden Age Green Lantern, we got Legacies. Legacies is similar to what Marvel did with Marvel's Project. If you haven't checked it out, really recommend Marvel's Project. They did a great way, or actually Brubaker did a great job at tying everything in, all the heroes from the Golden Age of Marvel Comics, and tying it in through the mutants up until today. Similar to what DC Universe is doing with Legacies now, kind of doing a cohesive thread. And for all you DC fans, you know that's really hard to do.
Marvel does it first, DC does it better.
Okay. And finishing up with DC, we have the Legion of Superheroes, written by Paul Levitz.
It was a decent read. It's very wordy, very lengthy. It takes a while to get to it, and it reminds me of how DC has really lame names for their superheroes.
Like Lard Lad and Kitty.
Jupiter Girl, Cosmo Boy, Colossal Boy.
Yeah. But if you were a fan of Legion of Two Worlds, that was in Final Crisis, that had to do with the Green Lantern, the last Green Lantern, what is his name? Odom. I don't know. Sorry, guys. I
only know so much.
Yes, yeah. Anyways, the last Green Lantern that was in that one reappears here.
Yes.
Oh, and guys, pick up the spirit, the first wave stuff. It's okay. Definitely worth reading. Don't believe everything you read on the internet or you see on the internet, except us.
Yeah.
Image is Haunt.
Haunt is a really good series. The trade is out right now for the first part of the series. This is going into the second. McFarlane, Kirkman, great writing team, and Capula's back on it, so you know it's got to be good.
A lot of people have said Spawn done right.
Yes.
And can't argue.
Yeah, the second issue of this is the second reprint of Turf. It's a really interesting read. Already got picked up for a movie. It involves a really weird story about Prohibition back in 1929 that involves vampires, gang lords, and aliens. Definitely something to read.
It's all that night train that we're drinking. Guys, we talked about Devil earlier. Last issue. Pick it up. If you're into vampires, very cool vampires. These guys do more than glow in the light.
And that's all we could ever ask for.
And another featured trade, N-League Volume 2 by Rick Remender. If you guys did not check this out, I really recommend checking this series out. The premise is that somebody similar to Lex Luthor tricks somebody similar to Superman into flying a nuclear warhead into an alien ship that's underwater. It releases a cloud of radiation that gives everybody in the world pretty much superpowers. And guess what everybody decides to do with them? No, they don't decide to be heroes, they decide to be villains. That's why this is called the N-League.
That's what I would do.
The United villains are killing off the heroes and humanity is really in a bad place. But definitely a very, very good read. Before Remender got to Marvel, that was one of the highlights that he did. Can't recommend it enough.
Alright. Well, that's the end of this week. Come back for us next week when we do the next load of comics. Alright, see you later.
There can be only one John.
Oh! But my name is Jonathan.
I don't care.
Oh!
Bro, I'll totally resurrect you. Hey, I want Fritos.
Hi, I'm John, owner of John's Comics.
And I'm Jonathan English of the Casual Nerds.
And I'd like to assure you today that no Jonathans were hurt in the filming of today's comic review.
Yes.